children, welcome to the Biozoology session part 2 Unit 22 World of Microbes. So today we are going to see applications of microbes. In the previous class we have discussed about microorganisms like bacteria, its shape and structure, virus, its types and fungi and prions. So today we will see the beneficial effects of microbes. So how does microbes used in agriculture, industries and in medicine? Good morning children, welcome to the Biozoology session part 2 Unit 22 World of Microbes. So today we are going to see applications of microbes. In the previous class we have discussed about microorganisms like bacteria, its shapes and structure, virus, its types and fungi and prions. So today we will see the beneficial effects of microbes. So how does microbes used in agriculture, industries and in medicine? How does these microbes are used in these three fields, in agriculture, industries and in medicine? So first we will see the beneficial effects of microbes in agriculture. It is used as biofertilizer. So what is a fertilizer? It is an organic substance used by the farmers in the sand to enrich the sand, which helps the plant to grow well. So the main sources of this biofertilizers are bacteria, cyanobacteria and fungi. These are the three main sources which acts as biofertilizer. So what work it performs is conversion of atmospheric nitrogen to available form of nitrogen. So these three biofertilizer helps the atmospheric nitrogen and bring it down to the soil to enrich the soil in the form of available form of nitrogen. So the examples or the names of the bacteria are Azotobacter, Nitrosomonas and Nostoc, and symbiotic microbes like Rhizobium and Frankia. This Rhizobium and Frankia are present in the root nodules of the leguminous plants. Okay. So next is as biocontrol agents. Biocontrol agents, or you can call it as biopesticides. So what is biocontrol agents? Microorganisms used for controlling harmful or pathogenic organisms and pests of plants are called as biocontrol agents. So the example is Bacillus thuringiensis, which produces cryproteins, which kills the pathogenic organism larva. Okay, and this Bacillus thuringiensis is available in sachets, that is this packed in plastic covers which are dissolved in water and sprayed on plants infected with insects larva. Then in the second field, industries. How does this microbe used in industries? So first, production of fermented beverages. What is beverages? Wines. Okay, beverages like wines are produced by this fermentation of grapefruits. Okay, by Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So what is fermentation? Fermentation is like how milk gets fermented, converted to curd, or how idli batter gets fermented. So which microorganism is used there? Yeast. Idli batter and all, yeast is used. So like that, wine is prepared by the fermentation of grapefruit, the help of this bacteria Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Then the second one is curing of coffee beans, tea leaves and tobacco. And the bacteria used is Bacillus megaterium, which gives the wonderful aroma. So when we use this Bacillus megaterium, this gives the curing, means preparation of coffee beans, tea leaves and tobacco. Okay, so this Bacillus megaterium gives wonderful aroma to this drinks. Then production of curd. So curd is prepared by milk, prepared from milk by the bacteria lactobacillus. So lacto, whenever you come across the word lacto, this specifies the word which indicates milk. Okay, so this lactobacillus is present in milk, which helps in the production of curd. This helps the milk to get ferment and forms curd. Then the third one is production of organic acids, enzymes and vitamins. So oxalic acid, acetic acid and citric acid or vinegar. Okay, so these three are prepared by the bacteria fungus Aspergillus niger. This is very important one word, children, please keep it in mind. Aspergillus niger is used in the preparation of oxalic acid, acetic acid, vinegar, or you can write acetic acid also. So then enzymes like lipases, invertase, proteases, from microbes. These also, the enzymes like lipases, invertase, proteases also prepared by the help of the microbes. Then we see the application of microbes in medicine. So first one is antibiotics. So what is antibiotic? These are metabolic products of microorganisms which in very low concentration are inhibitory or determined to other microbes. So in 1929 Alexander Fleming discovered this penicillin. This is very important one. This will be asked in 1 mark. Okay, so penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming in the year 1929. So in human beings, antibiotics are used to control infectious diseases like cholera, diphtheria, pneumonia, typhoid, etc. Okay, you can refer 22.1, the tabular column given in the page number 261. So penicillin is the important antibiotic which is used to control cholera, diphtheria, pneumonia, typhoid, etc. Then vaccine. What are vaccines? These are prepared by killing or making the microbes inactive, that is attenuated. So these inactive microbes are unable to cause diseases but stimulate the body to produce antibodies against the antigen in the microbes. So this produce antibodies against antigen. So this also explained in the tabular column 22.2 in page number 262. So these are the important applications of microbes. So the three fields are agriculture, industries and medicine. Agriculture, industries and medicine. So agriculture, industries and medicine. So in agriculture it is used as biofertilizer and biocontrol agents, and in industries production of fermented beverages, curing coffee beans, tea leaves, then production of organic acids. Then in medicine, antibiotics and vaccines. Okay, so then next we will see about microbes and diseases. Microbes and diseases. So what are microbes and the diseases caused by microbes? So disease means discomfort, right? Disease means discomfort and can be defined as an impairment or malfunction of the normal state of the living organism. So diseases can be categorized based on extent of occurrence, that is endemic, epidemic, pandemic or sporadic, whether infectious or non-infectious, that is it is a communicability of we are going to discuss about the communicability of the diseases. Then types of pathogen, whether caused by bacterial, viral, fungal or protozoan infections. The fourth one is transmitting agent, whether airborne, waterborne or vector borne. So these are the diseases that can be categorized. How the disease can be categorized. Okay, so now we'll discuss in short about the classification of diseases based on occurrence. So endemic. So what is endemic? Endemic disease is nothing but which is found in certain geographical area affecting a fewer number of people, only for a few people. It is affected only for a few people in a certain area. So for example, occurrence of goiter in sub-Himalayan regions. Then next is epidemic, to a larger number of people, in a particular geographical region and spreads at the same time. Example is influenza. Then pandemic. So pandemic disease which is widely distributed on a global scale. So example given in the book is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is AIDS. But now you can write the example COVID-19 also, because now this is the pandemic disease what we are facing. Okay, COVID-19 is the name of the disease and the virus which cause the disease is coronavirus. You can write that also as an example. So why it is called as pandemic disease? Because it is spreading from world to world, getting transmitted from world to world. Okay, then sporadic. So what is sporadic? Disease which occur occasionally. Example malaria and cholera. So during rainy season, this malaria and cholera, when the water gets affected, gets stagnated. Okay, so malaria and cholera gets spreading. So these such type of diseases are called as sporadic disease. The next manifestation of disease, that is communicability disease, that is whether it is infectious disease or non-infectious disease. So what is infectious disease? Infectious diseases are non-infectious diseases. So infectious disease means by the communicable caused by the external factors like pathogenic organisms like bacteria, virus and vector parasites. Okay, the example is influenza, tuberculosis, chickenpox. Manifestation of disease. So this is nothing but communicability of diseases. So now you are going to see whether disease is infectious disease or non-infectious diseases. What are infectious diseases? Communicable diseases, that is they are caused by external factors like pathogenic organisms, bacteria, virus, vectors and parasites. Okay, these are the external factors like pathogenic organisms, bacteria, virus, vectors, parasites that invading the body and causing diseases like influenza, tuberculosis, chickenpox, cholera, pneumonia, malaria, etc. And non-infectious diseases means the non-communicable diseases. These are non-communicable diseases. They are caused by internal factors. Like malfunctioning of organs, genetic causes, hormonal imbalance and immune system defect like diabetes, coronary heart diseases, obesity, cancer, goiter, etc. A point of entry and place of infection. So how does this microbe gets entered? So disease causing microbes enter the body through different means. It may be due to contaminated water. It may be due to contaminated air, water, food, soil, physical contact or sexual contact, and to infected animals also. So they may be organ specific or tissue specific within our body where microbes reside. Okay, so it may be organ specific or tissue specific. So next is reservoir of infection. So what is reservoir? You have heard of this word like water reservoir. So what is water reservoir? Where the place where water is saved. Okay, so the same meaning. Okay, so reservoir of infection refers to a specific environment in which the pathogens can thrive well and multiply without causing disease, where it can live for a longer period without causing disease, but it gets replicated. Okay, it gets multiplied. For example, the places where they act as a reservoir for this microbes are water, soil and animal population. The next is incubation period. The interval between infection and first appearance of the diseases is called incubation period. It may vary from hours to several days. So the bacteria may stay for an hour or to several days where it gets the disease and the first appearance of the disease. The interval between infection and the first appearance of the disease. So that time period is called as incubation period. Okay. So next is infection. So what is infection? Infection is the entry, development or multiplication of an infectious agent in the human body or animals. Entry, when the microbes get entered, developed or multiplied, okay, of an infectious agent in the human body or animals is called as infection. So what are the harmful effects of microbes? The pathogens causes diseases in two ways. They are tissue damage and toxin secretion. This is what we discussed before. So what is tissue damage? Many pathogens destroy the tissues or organs, okay, causing morphological and functional damage. So for example, bacterium pulmonary tuberculosis damages the cells of the lungs, and virus causing hepatitis destroys liver tissue. So what is toxin secretion? Many pathogens secrete poisonous substances called toxins which cause tissue damage. So now we will discuss about the symptoms and preventive measures for few airborne, waterborne and vector-borne, airborne, waterborne, vector-borne and sexually transmitted diseases. So first we will see airborne diseases. So it is very clearly given in the tabular column below here. Okay, so the disease, causative organisms, mode of transmission, tissue or organ affected and the symptoms of the diseases. Okay, so what is airborne disease? Human beings inhale atmospheric air. So due to continuous inhalation of contaminated air, the chances for airborne microorganisms to find a host and cause infection are higher. Okay, so when the microbes present in the air, atmospheric air, and we inhale that air, unfortunately we get affected. So such type of diseases are called as airborne diseases, and normally the symptoms will be transmitted. How does it get transmitted? Like acquired by inhaling air containing the pathogen that are transmitted through droplets caused by cough or sneeze, dust and spores. So this coronavirus also now it is detected as it is an airborne disease. Okay, so that is why we are requested to wear mask so that we can get avoid of this cough or sneeze, dust and spores, the entry of the microbes to us from the defected person to a normal person through cough, sneeze or dust and spores. Okay, so airborne diseases are caused by bacteria and viruses. A few airborne diseases and their modes of transmission are given in this tabular column. So please go through this tabular column. You will get an idea if you go through this. So each thing is clearly given. Symptoms are normal for all the diseases. Okay, only few changes will be there. And the diseases what is mentioned here is common cold, influenza, measles, mumps, chickenpox. Causative organisms are rhinovirus, myxovirus, rubella virus, myxovirus, parotidis and varicella. So go through this tabular column. So next we will see the tabular column for airborne disease also continues in the next page also. Tuberculosis, diphtheria, whooping cough. Causative organisms are Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Corynebacterium diphtheria, then Bordetella pertussis. Then waterborne diseases. Microbes present in the contaminated water cause various infectious diseases. Bacteria which are present in the contaminated water will produce us the disease. The diseases that are caused by this waterborne infectious microorganisms are cholera and typhoid. Okay, cholera and typhoid, and also poliomyelitis, diarrhea and infectious hepatitis. So the most common waterborne diseases and the causative microorganisms and the preventive measures are given in the tabular column. 22.5 waterborne diseases. Okay, preventive measures as well as the controlling agents and how to control the disease and what are the causative organisms. Everything is given in the tabular column 22.6 in page number 264. Okay, please go through this tabular column. You will get an. So next topic is vector-borne disease. So far we have seen airborne disease and waterborne disease. So now we will see vector-borne disease. So what is a vector? Vector is an agent that acts as an intermediate carrier between the microbe and the human and the living organism. There is an intermediate carrier which carries the microorganism towards us. So such intermediate carrier may be insect, okay, or called as an vector. So the diseases caused are malaria, chikungunya, dengue and filaria. So first let me see about malaria. So malaria is caused by protozoa parasite Plasmodium, namely Plasmodium vivax. We call it as P. Okay, P vivax, P malaria, P falciparum and P ovule. Falciparum is the one which causes malaria. Okay, Plasmodium falciparum is the one which is the main source for the disease malaria. Okay, then it spreads through the vector female Anopheles mosquito. So this is the Plasmodium malarial parasite. Okay, so darker violet color thing is the Plasmodium malarial parasite. It spreads through vector the female Anopheles mosquito, and the symptoms are headache, nausea, pain, shivering, followed by rise in temperature. In the evening you will have heavy shivering and also rise in temperature. Then the drug which is used to cure this malaria parasite is quinine drugs, which kills the stages of this malaria parasite. Okay, so parasite Plasmodium, namely P. vivax, P. malaria, and P. falciparum and P. ovale. These are the protozoan parasite. Malaria is spread through protozoan parasite. Okay, and spreads through the vector female Anopheles mosquito. Is that clear, children? Then we will see chikungunya. So it is caused by the virus transmitted by the bite of infected Aedes aegypti mosquito. Aedes aegypti mosquito, and its incubation period, that is the living period, is 2 to 12 days. Living period is 2 to 12 days, and the symptoms will be joint pain, difficulty in walking. These are the symptoms, and paracetamol is given to retrieve the pain and the fever. So it is caused, chikungunya is caused by a virus transmitted by the bite of infected Aedes aegypti mosquito. This is the female Anopheles mosquito which causes malaria. Okay, so which carries the protozoa P. falciparum. Okay, this is the female Anopheles mosquito. Then this is the chikungunya vector. Okay, this vector, that is Aedes, the mosquito Aedes aegypti, which carries the chikungunya vector, which carries the virus. Okay, Aedes mosquito aegypti, Aedes aegypti mosquito. Then the next one, and this one is the mosquito dengue, which causes dengue, which carries the vector dengue. Okay, this is another type of Aedes aegypti mosquito. Then the last one is filaria. Okay, filaria, this is the mosquito Culex mosquito. So this carries the vector, the worm, nematode worm, that is Wuchereria bancrofti, which causes the disease filaria. Okay, the dengue breakbone fever, it is called as breakbone fever, carried by Aedes aegypti mosquito. The symptoms are intense joint pain, severe joint pain, rashes and hemorrhage. It is cured by the tablet paracetamol. Okay, it reduces the pain as well as fever. Then complete rest and intake of liquid food is essential. Complete rest and intake of liquid food is essential. Then filaria is caused by nematode worm, which is Wuchereria bancrofti, transmitted by the Culex mosquito, Okay, the main feature is elephantiasis. Your leg gets swollen like elephant leg. Okay, so that is called, it is called as elephantiasis. Affects the legs, scrotum and the arms. So these are the vector-borne diseases. Okay, vector-borne diseases. So vector, what is vector? Vector is an agent that acts as an intermediate carrier of the pathogen. So the diseases are malaria, chikungunya, dengue and filaria. Is that clear, children? So next we will see the preventive and control measures of mosquito. Prevention of mosquito bites by using mosquito nets, mosquito screens, mosquito repellents and ointment. This all the things which we have to use at our home to control the mosquito. Okay, by using mosquito bites, by using mosquito nets, mosquito screens, mosquito repellents and ointments. Then elimination of breeding places by providing adequate sanitation, underground wastewater disposal system, drainage of stagnant water. So stagnant water should be strictly prohibited. You are not supposed to allow the water to stagnate near your house. It has to be cleaned then and there. Okay, so if you leave the water as it is, and surely these vectors lays eggs and it gets replicated, and surely there is a chance, we are giving a chance to get affected by the diseases. The collection of water in any uncovered container such as water tank pots, flower pots, discarded tires should be avoided. So don't allow the water to stay or stagnant in the water tanks or pots, flower pots, discarded tires. Okay, so please go through all the waters, make all your vessels clean. Okay, keep it dry during the rainy season. Then and there immediately throw away the water and keep the pots, flower pots, then water tanks, and the pots where you store the water, everything, the discarded tires which we keep all waste materials inside our houses or in the stairs. Okay, so we have to keep everything dry. Then control of mosquito larvae by spraying oil or stagnated water body. So even if there is a stagnation of water, you can spray some oil over the stagnant water, or you can spray kerosene. Okay, kerosene also plays a very important role in the prevention of this mosquito to lay eggs, to the multiplication of the mosquitoes. Okay, an application of citronella oil or eucalyptus oil on the exposed skin. So wherever your skin is exposed after wearing your dress, your half of the leg and half of the hands will be exposed in air. So the mosquitoes bite in your hand and in the legs. So you can apply the eucalyptus oil or citronella oil. Eucalyptus oil or citronella oil on the exposed skin. These are the preventive measures how you are going to prevent and control the mosquitoes. Okay, the next diseases transmitted by animals. So what are the diseases that gets transmitted by the animals? So the first one is swine flu. The swine flu first originated from pigs. It is caused by virus that affects pigs and has started infecting humans. Now from humans, if one person gets affected by this swine, from person to person it starts replicating. So the virus spreads through air, it affects the respiratory system. The important virus name is influenza virus H1N1. Okay, H1 and N1. So it is transmitted from person to person. It is transmitted from person to person by inhalation or ingestion of droplets containing virus from people sneezing or coughing. So when people sneeze or cough, when we are very close to them, it gets infected from the infected person to the normal person. So fever, the symptoms are fever, cough, nasal secretion, fatigue, headache, sore throat, rashes in the body ache or pain, chills, nausea, vomiting and diarrhea, shortness of breath. These are the symptoms associated with this disease. So how we are going to control this? Administration of nasal spray, vaccine, the vaccine spray which we have to apply in the nose, that is called nasal spray vaccine. We are having separate vaccine for that. Avoiding close contact with person suffering from flu. Then intake of water and fruit juices will help prevent dehydration. Okay, so you lose water content in your body whenever you get this viral disease. So intake of liquid food is very important during that time to avoid the dehydration. Plenty of rest will help the body to fight infection. So you need to take complete rest, because your body will pain severely. Your joints, leg, head and your hands will pain severely. So complete rest is very important. And always wash hands and practice good hygiene. So if you are clean and you make yourself clean, and if you keep your surrounding clean, you can very well easily overcome all these type of diseases, viral diseases. Okay, then next is avian influenza. So this includes birds. Aves means birds. Okay, so the disease spread through birds are called as avian influenza. So avian influenza is a contagious disease, bird disease caused by viruses. The birds that carry and spread avian influenza virus include poultry, chickens, turkeys or ducks. So these are the birds which grows in the poultry, and wild birds and pet birds. It is caused by influenza virus H5N1. It is caused by the influenza virus H5 and H5N1. So the incubation period of this virus is 2 to 7 days. Incubation means the living period inside our body is 2 to 7 days. And people who have close contact with this infected birds are the surfaces that have been contaminated by the bird secretion from mouth, eyes, mucus, nasal secretions or droppings transmit this disease. And the symptoms will be fever, cough, sore throat, runny nose, muscle and body aches, fatigue, headache, redness of eyes, difficulty in breathing are the symptoms of this disease. The picture is given: poultry to human, virus transferred through the eyes, nose, mouth and touch. So this is H5N1 virus. H5N1 virus. So the intake of the poultry birds, okay, through eyes, the virus transfer through the eyes, nose, mouth and touch. The symptoms are high fever, cough, sneezing, breathing difficulties, loss of appetite. Okay, so preventive measures: avoid open air markets where infected birds are sold. Then avoiding contact with infected birds or consumption of infected poultry. Then proper cleaning and cooking of the poultry. That is very, very important. Cleaning and cooking of the poultry. So next is sexually transmitted diseases. So what is sexually transmitted disease? A few sexually transmitted disease, that is contact between the affected person to a normal person, straight contact from affected person to a normal person, or when you through the transfusion of the blood, or through the infected like the equipments when we use to the infected person to a normal person. So this is how the sexual contact disease spreads. So the few sexually transmitted diseases are AIDS, gonorrhea, genital warts, genital herpes and syphilis. 2 mark question, children. Sexually transmitted diseases. Name sexually transmitted diseases: AIDS, gonorrhea, genital warts, genital herpes and syphilis. So what is AIDS? What is AIDS? Acquired immune deficiency syndrome. What is AIDS? Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It's caused by retrovirus RNA. RNA means ribonucleic acid. RNA, ribonucleic acid virus, known as human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. The virus attacks the white blood cells or lymphocytes and weakens the body's immunity or self-defense mechanism. It is transmitted through sexual contact from an infected person to a healthy person, or through the transfusion of unscreened blood, or by surgical equipments, infected needles and syringes. Then maternal, that is from mother to a fetal transmission, from infected mother to the fetus. Okay, this is how this disease get transmitted. The symptoms will be weight loss, prolonged fever, sweating at night, chronic diarrhea are some of the important symptoms. And this is the structure of HIV. Okay, so you have the parts like glycoprotein here, viral envelope, capsid, reverse transcriptase enzyme, then identical RNA strands. So how do you prevent? Disposable syringes and needles should be used. Disposable syringe, that is, once you use to a person, it has to be get disposed. You are not supposed to use the same syringe for the other person. Protected and safe sexual contact, screening of blood before blood transfusion. Blood has to be checked properly, screened properly whether it is infected or not. Avoid sharing shaving blades or razors. People should be educated about AIDS transmission. Okay, this is how you can control the sexual contact disease. The next is hepatitis B or serum hepatitis. It occurs due to the infection of hepatitis B virus HBV. The virus damages the liver cells, causing acute inflammation and cirrhosis of liver. And the symptoms are same: fever, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, yellowness, eyes, colored stools, itching of skin, headache and joint pains. And prevention measure same as HIV. Screening of blood donors before blood donation can prevent transmission. Injection of drugs to be prevented. Having safe and protected sex. Sharing of razors should be avoided. Hepatitis B vaccine offers excellent protection against HPV. The vaccine is safe and highly effective. So some of the sexually transmitted diseases caused by bacteria and virus are discussed in this tabular column 22.7. Please go through this tabular column. The bacterial and virus diseases are mentioned in the tabular column so clearly. Okay. So next we will see about the immunization. So far we have seen the diseases called bacterial and viral diseases and how they are spread under the preventive and controlled measures. Now we will see the immunization. Immunization is a process of developing resistance to infections by administration of antigens or antibodies. Inoculation of vaccines into the body to prevent diseases is called as vaccination. Okay. So one effective way of controlling the spread of infection is to strengthen the host defenses. That is, WBC plays a very important role in the immunity of our body. Okay. So WBC is the police force. It has T cells which protects whenever foreign antigen gets into our body. It fight against that foreign antigen and protect our body. So when these white blood cells reduces in number, we will get the disease. So you can recognize that you are affected by some viral or bacterial disease. Okay. So vaccines and its types. Vaccines are preparation of living or killed microorganisms or other products used for prevention of treatment of disease. So vaccines are of two types: live vaccines and killed vaccines. So see the examples for live vaccines: BCG vaccine, oral polio vaccine. Okay, these are prepared from living organisms. Then the next one is killed vaccination. Killed vaccine. So we will see about the killed vaccines. Microorganisms, that is bacteria or virus, killed by heat or chemicals are called killed or inactivated vaccines. They require a primary dose followed by a subsequent booster dose. So what are killed vaccines? Microorganisms, that is bacteria or virus, killed by heat or chemicals are called killed or inactivated vaccines. Okay. So they require a primary dose followed by subsequent booster dose. The examples are typhoid vaccine, cholera vaccine, pertussis vaccine. So now we will see immunization schedule. Very important question. Okay, even in 10th standard this question will be asked in public exam. So please keep a note of this immunization schedule. Okay, it is given briefly in the tabular column 22.8 in the page number 269. So just we will have a look on the dosages. What are the vaccines given? Okay, BCG with the bacillus are weakened and used immunization against tuberculosis. Then DPT is triple vaccine. MMR is mumps, measles and rubella vaccine. Okay, so see, BCG is for Bacillus calmette-guerin. Bacillus calmette-guerin. Okay. Then DPT means triple vaccine, that is diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus. Then MMR is mumps, measles and rubella. DT is a dual antigen or combined antigen, gives protection from diphtheria and tetanus. Then TT is tetanus toxoid, toxin of tetanus bacteria. Then the next one is TAB, 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 that is combined vaccine for typhoid, paratyphi A and paratyphi B. Combined vaccine for typhoid A and B. So that is why it is called as TAB. Okay, see, this is the important immunization schedule, and it has the tabular column: age, vaccine, dosage, age, vaccine and dosage. Newborn BCG first dose. In 15 days oral polio first dose. 6th week DPT and polio first dose. 10th week DPT and polio first dose. 14th week DPT and polio first dose. 9 to 12 months measles first dose. 18 to 24 months DPT and polio first dose. 15 months 15 months to 2 years MMR first dose, 2 to 3 years TAB 2 doses at 1 month gap, 4 to 6 years DT and polio second booster, 10th year TTT and TAB first dose, 16th year TT and TAB second booster. Okay, so this is very important tabular column. This will be asked in brief answer. Okay, 5 mark question, immunization schedule. So by this the lesson comes to an end. So you can go through the points to remember and the glossary. Glossary will have meanings for the important scientific words like antibiotics, biofertilizers, biopesticides. These are the definitions for the important scientific words. You can write these answers for 2 marks also. If it is asked in 2 marks, you can write the answers. Flagella, immunization, pathogen, prions and vaccines. So the textbook exercises, the PDF will be uploaded as soon as possible, and in classwork I want you all to write answer very briefly second question, fourth question and sixth question, second, fourth and sixth, and in brief answer briefly I want you all to write second and fourth. So these are the 6 questions, 5 questions what you have to write in your classwork. Okay, the PDF will be uploaded as soon as possible. Please go through the lesson, very important lesson. You have to be thorough with the viral diseases, how it gets spreaded, airborne disease, vector-borne disease and waterborne diseases, control and preventive measures, and immunization schedule. These are the important topics what we have covered today. Please go through it. Okay, thank you children.